Yes, at this point, notes shall be out. All right, guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the D-Slice Pod. We're here with our first ever guest. His name is
Jackson Beak.
Jackson Beak. So yeah, just to catch you guys up, we were supposed to. So little rewrite here. We were supposed to have somebody else on, but of course they canceled. So
You could throw shade.
I could throw shade.
You could throw shade.
She doesn't listen anyway. It's fine. But we've got a swap up in the schedule, and it's going to be a good one for you tonight. Good one for you tonight. We're pumped. We're freaking pumped.
It's a better movie anyway.
That's not true.
No, shut up. It is.
I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't get. You're not allowed to say.
Sure, I am.
No, you're not.
Okay, whatever.
Same thing.
Or let me ask y'all this: How was our weekend? How was the weekend? I mean, we mostly spent our weekend together, but
One person could fill this hole.
I know we could talk about it.
We literally tucked you in last night.
I know they did tuck me in.
Did you get up?
I had to. My door was unlocked.
You were safe under the covers. There was no need for the security of the door.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so Friday, what did we do? Friday night?
We watched Tropic Thunder. No, that was Thursday.
Was it hockey?
Wow, we were together for like 4 straight.
So Tropic Thunder we watched Thursday.
What day was hockey?
Friday was hockey.
Okay.
We went and saw a hockey game on Friday. Saturday,
The Gentleman.
we watched The Gentleman. Great movie. And then today is Sunday. Sunday, November 16th? 17th. But yeah, so we just finished watching Tombstone.
Okay, I didn't know you were saying it.
This is a Jackson Peak classic. Pick this one.
It's a top film.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of top films.
Yeah. Whoa. Good transition there.
What are your top 5 favorites? This is not his top 5, this is not top 5 best films objectively. This is Jackson's top 5.
This is opinionated.
Yeah.
We're going to go over Jackson's.
You can still get mad, but
all right.
Don't get mad.
Starting off with 5th.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lead it there. Is Swiss Family Robinson.
Swiss Family Robinson.
From
the, I don't know, did they even do it? The 1961?
Yes.
Okay, why is this your favorite?
It just encompasses a child's dream. Like they get stranded on an island, bunch of pets. I'm gonna be honest. Like as a young boy, all I could think about was how sick would this be to live this in real life. And
Bunch of pets.
It's just stayed with me. They tame they catch a tiger.
The background on LetterBoxd looks cool. Look at that treehouse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I know that movie is known for like the treehouse.
Yes.
Crazy looking treehouse thing. And
I've never heard anything about this movie except for the title.
I know about the coconut bombs.
Yes, they do make coconut bombs.
Which I don't even know how that works, but it works.
Bombs in coconuts?
Yeah, I think they just poured black powder in them
and they just threw a fuse in it and threw them. Funny bits. Anyway.
This is a new addition into the
top
list.
5?
Yes.
Really?
We watched this last night. The Gentleman would be now number 4.
Oh, this is number. Oh, okay.
This jumped into my top 5 too after we watched it. It had it at 7, moved it to 5 after watching it again.
Yeah, this movie is. We were talking about this morning, or even last night after we watched it. We were like, "Yo, let's go get like 3-piece suits together and let's get some drip and then hang out."
The problem is we're not as attractive as any of those cast.
That's
pull
fair.
Those suits off.
That's fair.
We're better looking than Hugh Grant, at least now.
He can be unattractive now because he's a millionaire. We're
he's
bottom.
Just, 50 something, or probably 60.
He's probably still better looking.
But he was in a lot of romance movies, so you got to be attracted to be in romance movies.
That's true.
So yeah, that jumped into your top 5.
It did.
That was the first. That was the first time watch.
Yes, and it instantly goes to the 4th.
Let's go. Yeah, it's solid. All right, give us your number 3.
Number 3 is also a newer movie.
Newer movie?
Newer of this year.
Newer that you've...
I know what this is too.
Newer you've seen, okay.
Dune 2 is now in my top 5.
Chandler refuses to watch it.
And that's almost a crime.
Yeah, I get it. The first one is boring. I don't like the first one either.
First one's so...
Yes.
Oh.
Don't compare it.
I will never get those 3 hours back.
I turned it off the first time I watched it. I didn't even finish it.
I was in a theater. I didn't have that luxury. Yeah. But after going back after watching the second one, the first one's way better.
I watched the first one all the way through after I turned it off, and then you watch it with somebody that's read the books and ask them all your questions. It makes it way easier to understand.
But I saw Dune 2 4 times in theaters.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
So good.
Jeez, dude.
The color scheme on that movie, the oranges, like the opening scene, the orange is insane.
Yes.
So we're number 2.
Number 2, Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Rush Hour 2 to be specific, but the whole trilogy is
I haven't seen them in a while.
top tier.
They're good.
And
I haven't seen them in a while.
I
but
get
they're
confused on. I can't differentiate the 3 of them right now. I don't remember which one's which.
good. Like 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one is where they're going after the triads, and it's his father, Jackie Chan's character's father's friend. It's the Snoopy, if that brings back anything.
Which one? Yeah, I read your review for it. Which one's the one where the girl gets kidnapped? Is that the third one?
That's the first.
That is the first one. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the one I remember the best.
The second one's better.
Okay, I'll just rewatch them all like bang bang bang.
Yeah, we should watch them on VHS. We should get them on VHS and watch them on my
They're supposed to be making a 4th one, you know.
CRTV
I think
in
so.
the
I
corner.
think they said that there's a 4th coming out. Number 1 is Rio Bravo.
I've never heard of this movie.
It's a John Wayne film.
Oh,
I've
is
seen,
it?
like, no
It's a
John
Western?
Wayne movies.
It is. But it's got a great cast. It's got, I mean, the notable guys are John Wayne and Dean Martin. And
Yeah.
it's a fantastic film. Like when I think of what a true Western should be and about it, like, you know, the small town sheriff,
You think of that?
this is the movie.
Dang, man. Yeah, this looks impressive.
The only 2 people I follow that have seen this movie gave it a 5 and a 4.5.
Dang, we gotta watch this then. Returning guest, you?
Yeah,
We're gonna watch that?
absolutely.
In April for spring break.
We just take it up to we'll take the set up to
We'll
Kentucky.
take the computer.
Yeah.
Right? That would actually
That'd
be.
so fun.
We could do that. That would be fun to do.
I'll have an empty apartment. You might as well.
Bring the whole desktop computer.
Yeah. Let's get into actors.
Yeah.
Starting at 5.
Yeah, starting at 5.
So Colin Farrell is
great.
Is
Is that
fifth for me.
is that a recent ad?
That is not actually.
Okay.
And the gentleman is definitely one of my favorite movies I've seen him in, but my all-time favorite would be American Outlaws.
Never seen that.
I've never even heard of that.
He's younger in it, and it's got a pretty
Bro,
decent cast.
Young Colin Farrell.
What year did that come out?
Oh, don't hit me with that.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm not that.
What's it
prepared.
called?
Wait, okay,
American Outlaws.
So that's your favorite Colin Farrell movie?
Yes.
Okay. Chandler, what's your favorite Colin Farrell movie? I mean, mine would be The Gentleman, but like my favorite Colin Farrell performance is Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, I'd say The Gentleman for me.
Yeah.
I was either that or like him and the Batman.
Yeah, he's not even
It's the Penguin
in it that much. Now, the Penguin, the show, he did incredible in that.
It came out in 2001.
in 2001. Oh wow, he is a hunk in this.
Oh yeah, dude, young Colin Farrell.
Oh, is this a Western?
It is.
He just
Oh, it is. It is a Western. Yeah.
We watched The Gentleman last night, and he goes, imagine he just went like, well, this isn't for a non-Western. This is a pretty good film.
Okay. You know,
It looks pretty interesting. I'd give it a watch.
we're just when I come on, it's just gonna be Western themed. Every single
I'm
time.
down.
Or Colin Farrell.
You're scratching that itch.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
Brad Pitt.
Oh,
Oh,
this is on ours.
yeah.
Yeah.
We already said our favorite Brad Pitt films too, so
Yeah, mine's Fury with him in it. That or
mine's 7.
Fight Club. I like him in Fight Club.
He's insane in Fight Club.
He's crazy.
You know, I feel like Troy is a little bit underrated.
Dude.
Oh,
Troy is good.
yep. That's
He's
that's
really
up there.
hot in that too.
But you know,
I'm just on a tangent right now.
what?
Horny.
Wolves, recent movie, Wolves with George Clooney. He has a fantastic performance in that as well. Because it's not,
It seems very Ocean's 11.
yeah, it's more of that kind of
Yeah, Ocean's 3.
that underlying comedic relief of a movie.
Oh,
But
yeah,
he's
hilarious.
but he still brings the
Serious.
boom.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about serious? Have you guys ever seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
No.
no,
He goes insane in that movie because that's like he's the main character, and that movie's like 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
We were talking about crashing out complications. The actors.
Yeah.
Is he crash out in that one? Is that why you're saying it's insane? Because he like.
No, it's just like the comedic relief because he's funny. There's like really none of that in that movie because it's just like super
Oh, geez.
kind of somber the whole movie.
Well, number 3, and this is opinionated. There's no like,
Oh.
there's no basis behind this actor.
That's
Well,
fine.
there
The only one
is.
who'll give you crap for that is him. So.
It's not like he's not a bad actor. It's just for me, how he plays him is what draws me to him. Chris Pratt.
That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
solid.
I think Chris Pratt's great.
Yeah, I love Chris Pratt.
Magnificent Seven is I think my favorite movie with him in it.
I really do like Magnificent Seven. I'd look at my list to see what my top 100 to see
I've got one with him in
what
it.
my actual top. But what I want to say off the top of my head, since you already said Magnificent Seven, is Passengers. Have you ever seen that movie with him and Jennifer Lawrence?
Oh
No,
my god,
I've
there's so
not.
many. Okay.
That I love that.
I won't give you crap for it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, see, because he almost played right into what I said he was going to do.
Mine would be Guardians of the Galaxy
Mine would be
or Jurassic World, but more
Guardians
or
of the
less.
Galaxy Volume 3 though. That was the best.
It is. I think the first one's the best, but he does do a really good job. You got your favorite one by him, Chris Pratt, Levi?
I mean, Magnificent Seven is mine's Magnificent Seven.
All right, y'all got a similar one. There you go. Give us number dos.
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, solid pick. You kidding me?
is my number 2.
He's so good.
Take a wild guess as what I think his top performance.
Well, he won an Oscar for Oppenheimer.
He did. He did.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh well,
It's really good.
it is really good.
I would put Sherlock Holmes as my favorite
I was
performance
about to
by
say.
him.
The first one,
Yes.
I think they're both really good.
Well, they're both solid. Yeah, it was a good sequel.
Yeah,
That's a good movie.
yeah. I don't think he's in my any of my favorites in my top
Oh
100.
man, I'm looking at his
I'm gonna have to say
his filmography
I'm
here.
gonna have to say Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good in In-Game.
Oh,
Duh.
dude, yes, you know what your favorite movie with him in is.
We
watched it 2 days ago.
we watched it Thursday.
Tropic Thunder. I was literally about to say Tropic Thunder. He's so good in that movie, dude.
I also think that's his best performance.
If that would have come out this year, he would be
Yeah,
canceled.
sure. Yeah, no, it would be canceled. That movie, he would be canceled if that came out. All right, number 1,
This is not going to come as a shocker, but John Wayne is my number 1
John Wayne.
Okay.
actor of all
John
time.
I gotta even see if I've seen a movie with him in it.
I have. Pull up his.
Tell us more about why should we love John Wayne?
Yeah, why should we love?
You know, growing up watching John Wayne, he's just a great guy to look up to. You know, he's always the hero, always a tough guy in the movies,
Is this
saving everyone.
Yeah,
Throws you for a loop.
I've seen no movies with John Wayne in them.
Really,
Not fully. I've seen bits and pieces. Like my dad likes westerns, so
Yeah, I don't know if
his
I have.
best Rio Bravo is my favorite movie by him, but I think his best performance in a movie is The Cowboys.
I have.
Did
yeah.
your dad put you on like westerns and you just grew up? You said you grew up
Yes.
watching westerns, yeah.
I had like the big, like massive CD cases, you know, that you would buy with the old black and white westerns that had like 140, and half of them were like original John Wayne movies. And I would just sit for hours watching John Wayne.
I've actually got a little John Wayne fact in my Tombstone trivia.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh.
All right, let's move on to trivia. Let's hear it.
that's a good segue though.
That was a good segue. That was a good segue.
I just happened to have so this question. I'll lead into this. What was the real Wyatt Earp's job after moving to Hollywood?
A consultant.
Wow, that's correct.
He's the Mr. I know everything about this movie.
In 1915, might I add, is what the year he
That's also
moved.
true. Earp moved to Hollywood in 1950 and made a living as a consultant for multiple early Western films. John Wayne claimed to have met with Earp once, leading him to model his signature way of walking to resemble the famous cowboy.
Wyatt Earp's him.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp.
kind of
is-
funny. They call him
100%.
famous cowboy. Where in Tombstone, cowboys were the bad guys, but
Yeah, well, they're more like a little gang.
Yeah, it's
They
kind of
call
like
themselves
that was the name.
cowboys. Yeah. They're not the true cowboy, the true mythos of the cowboy.
Earp is definitely.
Yeah, our mythological knight is the cowboy as an American. You know that?
yeah. So, next question. What do you guys think the budget was for this film? All right, I got four options here. Unless you want to rattle something.
What year?
No,
hold
I
on, what
don't-
year did it come out?
93.
Okay, go.
All right. A, 10 million. B, 15 million. C, 25 million. Or D, 40 million.
The set in town is, if you really look at it, it's very detailed. In every
Yeah.
building that they walk into,
You see the Wells
streets,
Fargo? That's
Yeah.
what I noticed for some reason.
every street had wagons and horses, and that costs a lot to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, horses.
Was 25 an option? Yeah.
25 is not.
I'm gonna go with
Is
25.
that C? Right?
Yes, that's C.
Yeah, I was gonna say C.
Yeah, 25 is correct.
Let's go. Let's go,
Was
Jack.
25, and he didn't even remember that. He
So
just
Jackson's
threw that out
2 for 2. I'm 1 for 2.
there. Yeah, I didn't give you. I should have been like, yeah, okay, now you guess when he said consultant, but he
No.
knew that. You would have gotten that because he didn't even guess. He wasn't like consultant. It was. Oh yeah, he's a consultant.
Yeah, I also just probably wouldn't have guessed. It's probably been like, I don't know.
So then, how much do you think this movie made? A, 20 million, B, 36.5 million, C, 45 million, or D, 56.5 million?
I'm going to say D. I
It's
think it popped off.
but is it one of those that it popped off because
Later
on because of the lore from the dads, you know, like the
The
dads
lore.
being like you have to watch
The lore
this.
from the dad.
Dad lore.
That's how I watched it.
No,
My
no,
dad was like,
see?
"Sit down with me, son. We're watching Tombstone."
It's like a loyal amount of people kept their kids watching it, and it just spread.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was the 40? What was the 40?
20, 36.5, 45, 56.
45. I'm gonna go with 45.
I'm sticking with D.
It's 56.5. I mean, 56.5.
Let's go. I think it's like for the year, 94?
3.
93, same year as Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I think at this time, movies were popping off. So I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the year.
Well, I'm saying I just think movie theaters in general during this time, unlike now,
It's getting back into it.
is it?
I think it's
Oh
coming.
yeah,
down.
2020 and 2021 were down. 22 and 23 were pretty good. 24 has been. I think 23 was better than this year, but
This year's been rough.
you didn't watch Dune Part 2. Tell them, guys.
Okay.
Anybody who watches.
Okay. All right. Next question.
All right. This is my last question. The last thing I have is a fact. But who almost played Doc Holliday?
I know this one.
Okay. Well, I'll let him answer first then.
Yeah.
A. Willem Dafoe. B. George Clooney. C. Jeff Bridges. D. Woody Harrelson. Why do you know this?
Oh man, that's hard. There's 2 that I want to
He
say.
must be on the subreddit r/Tombstone.
I'm gonna go with A.
It is William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, I think I've heard that. That's why my brain's like recalling that information, being like, it's A, it's A.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer was made for that character.
Yeah, I'm glad he got it.
I'm gonna get into that later because I do have some thoughts on that.
I'm so glad he got it.
The last fact I have about this movie: the movie was originally supposed to be over 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes, but
I kind of.
I think
I
we
could
got.
probably dealt with 3 hours.
I think we got robbed of 50 minutes of,
I didn't
of a
think
Maybe we
movie
should
there.
see if there's a director's cut.
There might be.
There probably is. There is of like everything nowadays, but I don't know about 30 years ago.
So I came prepared with some own facts on my.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So one of the bigger ones is the scene crossing the creek when he kills Curly Bill was a true story.
Yeah.
Had several eyewitnesses. So he stood up in the middle of gunfire and walked into a creek to meet him and shot him with a shotgun.
I'm glad that of all the, I mean, I knew that it was mostly a true story, but of all the parts to be actually true, I'm glad that that's one of them. Spoilers, by the way. I mean, at this point,
We're gonna get there.
yeah.
You go ahead.
Second, when they're pulling into town after the wedding scene, the Earps for the first time into Tombstone, and they read the tombstone that says "No less, no more," is a real tombstone. It is an actual gravesite. You can visit that site. It looks like a prop, but it is completely real.
Have you been to that gravesite?
I have not.
I'm really surprised. He said, I was waiting for him to, yeah, I've been there.
I don't know the location, but if I find it, I'll go.
Dang, we gotta take a trip.
Because they're in Arizona, maybe. Because I saw that on one of the signs they had on there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The OK Corral shooting lasted at most 30 seconds, and 6 men were killed in that time period.
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
Like the actual shooting.
Yeah. Because how long was that scene? Maybe like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume in real life it would
Be pretty quick.
either people are running or they're getting hit.
Were Virgil and Morgan shot in that in real life?
Yes. And also, fun fact, Wyatt Earp was never injured in any of the gunfights in his entire life.
That's crazy.
What a Chad. That's
Like,
crazy.
Well, dumb luck.
How did he die?
His old age, probably.
I saw he died at like 1929. Because this takes
Probably
place.
old age.
Do we know what year? It doesn't say what year this
I think
takes
like
place.
late 1800s.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably just some weird health.
Late 1800s.
So the scene where Val Kilmer's character Doc Holliday looks and says, "You're a daisy if you do," was legitimately said in the gunfight.
You're a daisy if you do. Like, did he say it before? Or are you just saying like at some point?
At some
during the
point,
confrontation?
it was said.
Well, because he said the Daisy thing like 3 times.
Well, I'm
Well,
wondering.
he says it in the beginning at the poker table,
Yeah.
and then he says it in the gunfight. So
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a moment in the gunfight. I wonder if they. We'll get into it. I'll talk about it. I'm gonna give you all the IMDb summary, and we're gonna just. Do we think it's a good one? Do we think it's a bad one?
Okay.
Summary?
Yeah, a little IMDb summary.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll go right into the movie.
Okay.
Former lawman Wyatt Earp, his 2 brothers, and friend Doc Holliday settled in the town of Tombstone in order to lead a profitable and peaceful life, but soon come into conflict with the Cowboys, a band of outlaws led by the Clanton brothers. This retelling of the Earp and Clanton feud also follows up the gunfight at the OK Corral with a look at the bloody consequences of the showdown.
There's a lot left.
Well,
I'm
it's
sad.
It's summary.
Even for a summary, though, I feel like they left the whole reckoning part out of that summary.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I
Love
see what you're
that
saying.
line,
Yeah,
too.
it just kind of ends at the OK Corral.
And that's like halfway through the movie.
That's halfway through the movie. We're going to be talking about what year is this? 1993?
Yeah, just think of Jurassic Park the whole time.
1993 Tombstone Western movie directed by, I have no idea.
I did
Kurt
read
Russell.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard the real director was Kurt Russell.
That's awesome. What a
It's not
Chad.
listed as that.
What a Chad. I love Kurt Russell. Okay. We're going to start with plot. And the way I took my notes, we're going to try and go through the events of the movie, like scenes, and then I'll ask if there's anything you have noted. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this movie opens with the gang, the Cowboys. They roll up to a wedding
Wedding, yeah.
of, I guess, a former, or not even a former cowboy. It's like a
I think-
Mexican police or Mexican officer of some kind. Because that's what I got from it, was because like everybody was dressed the same.
Yeah. I think they said that because they said that at the beginning. He said, "You guys are the Mexican police." Like, question.
Well, I think he asked him like, "Hey, you killed 2 of our guys."
They said that, but they said something about being Mexican police afterwards. Did you remember that?
I don't necessarily know if the standing of who they are really mattered, just kind of the...
I heard somebody say Mexican police. I heard somebody say that.
Anyway, yeah. So they roll up to the wedding, and then they just murder these guys, and chaos ensues. Excuse me. Do y'all have any notes about this little bit?
This is what I have written, right?
Overall thought.
As the opening scene of the movie being the wedding is a great way to introduce the Cowboys, the gang, and Curly Bill, and opens up the audience to really dislike the villains of the movie. And I feel like that's something we've lost in like now cinema, is like there's kind of like this double-edged sword of like, oh, can I kind of like these guys? Like they just rolled up to this wedding, killed everyone, did not great things to the bride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just really makes you from the get-go not like these
not
guys.
like him. Well, I think it does a good job of setting up, like, we got Curly Bill as the guy in the Reds, our posse leader. Everybody else is around him, and then you've got Ringo, who's this mysterious figure that can speak Spanish and
super mysterious.
kind of just sits back and watches. And I really like how they introduce him, because they shoot everybody, and the priest starts rambling off, and then Curly Bill's like, "What's he saying? I don't even know what he's saying." And some guy, one of the Mexican guys, translates for him, and he's like, "Dang." Ringo's like, "Dang, your Spanish is worse than your English." He's like, "That's not at all what he said." And then they go to eat, and then he says one more thing, and then Ringo's like this mysterious figure, because he just pops the priest with one shot, and the music spikes.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, "Oh."
Kind of look at one dude looked at Curly Bill like he was going to do something about it.
Yeah.
And then he just laughed.
It has subtle foreshadowing in that scene, because you see the bride being dragged in, and I'm blanking on the character's name, but the one that throws his sash down.
Ike?
No,
it's Michael Rooker's character.
Yes, he ends up. You can see the subtle foreshadowing in that scene as his discomfort of what's happening.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. Shot a holy man.
Mm-hmm.
But then we learned that the line, the thing that he's been saying is, it's the line from Revelations.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a pale horse,
And on it was death.
and hell followed with him.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about that later, because
It's a good,
we'll put a pin in that, okay? Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
From there, Any more notes from there y'all got? Just a good setup for our villains. We're like, okay, these guys are the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, and a good villain can make or break a movie if it's a lame villain.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they do a good job of making them. You're like, okay, I can see they're kind of just backing up their homies because they shot them. Like, I get it. But then we cut to, I guess, Wyatt getting off a train.
Yeah.
Meeting his family, his brothers, Virgil, Sam Elliott, Morgan, Bill Paxton, and then their wives, and then Kurt Russell.
And his new wife, because they hadn't met his wife. That made it seem like.
Yeah. Just newly married. And I guess, is this Wyatt coming from Dodge City?
I would assume so.
Kansas?
It would have been after that last shooting.
Yeah, he's just done.
He's done.
So, yeah, Wyatt's a former lawman in Kansas. And then he gets approached by, like, city mayor and the sheriff. They're like, we could really use your help. And he's like, no. And so where does that take us from here?
There's actually a great line in that scene. He the mayor, comes up and says, I've never seen a rich man without a guilty conscience.
Yeah, I love that line.
And Wyatt looks at him and goes, I already have a guilty conscience. I might as well have the money too.
That was the first line I wrote down.
Yeah, Wyatt's just tired of it.
Yeah.
And can I just say, dude, the outfits in this movie are something else. They're so good.
After coming from The Gentleman this weekend and then watching this, it's just like, we need to go get suits.
We need to go get suits. We need to go get like spurs and chaps and cowboy hats.
I don't think they were. Why the Earps never wore chaps in that movie? By the way,
I know, but the Cowboys outfits are great too.
It's true,
but
not as spiffy though.
Yeah, Wyatt and the Cowboys look like more like traditional Cowboys, but Wyatt and his family are like
look like Cowboys going to church.
They look like Pinkertons, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They do. They do look like Pinkertons, which, for those of you who don't know.
Pinkertons were a part of a railroad, and they are kind of like the enforcers that make sure things happen. Not the greatest of people, but
they dress
great
nice.
style.
Yeah, dressed real nice. They had the fancy suits.
I love the dress shirts with no collar. I just like stuff. That's what I try to get now instead of the lame ones that have collars.
Oh,
yeah.
2024 from Levi. Collars are lame.
Yeah.
Collars are overrated. Let's move away from them. So then they show up in town. They unpack their things. You meet new characters, which we'll go into later. But basically Wyatt's, trying to figure out how can I make some money here. So he hears about this one saloon that, is not doing well. And so he walks right in, asks the bartender, he's like, what's going on here? It's a nice place. Bartender's like, that guy over there, which is Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like, Billy Bob Thornton over there. It's not his name in the movie, it's the actor.
Yeah.
It's this just like degenerate guy. Levi, you describe the scene. It's just a degenerate guy who's
the dealer. And, well, remember he tells the bartender he's Wyatt Earp, and the guy's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, I love that bit.
So
he's
he
like,
laughs.
I'm Wyatt Earp. He's like,
sure.
He's
like, no, he doesn't be like, yeah, well, I am.
Oh, no. He's
just
like,
kind of laughs.
Sure, bud.
And then he tells him he sees the dealer causing a ruckus. Mm-hmm. And he's like, why don't you get that guy out? Well, he asked, like, what's his deal? And he started slapping people around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, because he asked the bartender why it's so dead in here. So he pointed that guy out and said came in and started slapping people around. So then Wyatt's like, well, why don't you get that guy out of here and get you an honest dealer in here, and, it won't be so dead.
Yeah. And so then I think he makes an excuse. He's like, he's a tough guy. So then Wyatt's like, let me take out the trash here. And he walks over and he's like, he hits him with a great line where he's like, hey, you're sitting in my chair.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Is that a fact?
Yeah. And so they start mouthing off. And then one of my favorite lines in this bit is when, this movie's so quotable, by the way. But
yeah, basically
Billy Bob Thornton stands up like he's going to do something about it. And Wyatt he says, go ahead, skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Yeah, that was a really good line.
Holy smokes. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens. Who wrote the lines? That's crazy.
And the shot for the slaps was a fantastic angle. Like, it really makes you believe.
Slaps the smoke out of him. Just,
like 3 times.
Yeah.
An unarmed man slapping
disrespectful.
An unarmed
man. And then you noted this, where he takes his guns and what he does.
Oh, he made the most impeccable behind the back throw to the bartender.
It's crazy.
I would love to know how many times that took. Like if that was just a first, first take that he just pitches it behind his back.
I don't know how.
And it wasn't even like the bartender was ready. So I wonder if it was improvised and he just happened to pitch this pistol perfect.
Yeah, like he didn't even look.
No,
He just tossed it, and the bartender, like good top bartender.
We couldn't
Imagine the bartender dropped it.
We couldn't recreate
Oh, it
that.
doesn't. Yeah.
We couldn't recreate that if we wanted to. Like it would look awkward every time we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many takes that took, honestly. Yeah, that scene. So yeah, he gets him out of the saloon, and then he asks the bartender. He's like, "Yo, how about 25%?
Sound good? Yeah.
Sound good to you?" Like he kind of is like, "Hey, let me get 25% of the money you're making." This is our introduction to Doc Holliday, and he's one of probably my favorite characters.
Me too.
Charismatic as ever.
Oh, he's witty.
Mm-hmm.
He's so witty.
Thank God.
Yeah, go ahead. Describe.
Start.
So you're placed with this scene. It's a midday in a bar, so it's just degenerates in playing poker.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys gets upset because he thinks Doc is cheating him. Tells Doc that he's nothing without his 2 pistols. Well, Doc begins to take his pistols out. I forget the line that he used to challenge him, but he says something to the guy that's upset about getting cheated. And
I don't remember. I forget what he said too.
Me too.
Well, Doc pulls a knife, stabs the guy.
I remember the knife.
I remember the knife.
Yeah.
And they end up taking all the money on all the tables.
And they rob it.
They basically, they just robbed it. They didn't even take the money that was theirs. They
Take the money, the chips. He even threw the glass he was drinking out of in the bag.
Subtle foreshadowing. That's the same cup as the later scene.
Oh,
I didn't even know that. So nice
notice
catch.
that?
Yeah.
dude, subreddit r/Tombstone. This guy is on there.
He's the number one
Subject
upvoted
matter
user.
expert, yeah.
He's upvoted user.
But no, fantastic way to introduce a very famous gunslinger.
Oh yeah, it's a great scene.
Also the coolest name, I think.
It's a sick name.
Yeah.
So then, back to the Wyatt. Right, Wyatt throws a gun. He leaves. That's where he runs into Doc, and
Yes.
we see that they've had history before, and so they're chatting. Well, actually, not yet. The guy who he bullied out of the bar comes out with a shotgun.
Oh, that's what you were going.
Johnny.
Its name is Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny comes out with a shotgun, and Doc goes, "Johnny, what you doing with that there shotgun?" And he's like, "Doc?" And then Wyatt's like, "Doc, is that you?" And so then Johnny's like, "Ah, crap, I messed up."
Yeah.
And so I love when it's funny because they start talking, and then Johnny's just in the background, and then Doc looks over and goes, "Oh, Johnny, I didn't see you there. I didn't know you were still standing there. You may go now."
Yeah, you. That was a great line.
The even better though is Wyatt Earp looking at him and going, we'll take that shotgun.
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
then
Good
he
job.
goes to hand it to him and goes, no,
leave
you just set it on the ground.
He
And
said, "Leave the gun."
Johnny looks at him and goes, "Thank you, sir," and turns around and walks away.
Well, I think he realized, oh crap, I messed up because this is Wyatt Earp, the guy who is him.
With his brothers and Doc Holliday.
Yeah, with these 3 insanely.
Yeah, because that was the thing. He didn't know that he was Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're in the town square. Then the wagon rolls up with the famous actress Josephine. We get our love interest, and she gets out and sees Wyatt from
She
afar.
says a tall drink of water.
Yeah, who's that tall drink of water over there?
Did you get the quote from the male actor? Because I know
Talking about.
I know you noted it in that scene.
And she says, "My dear, you've set your gaze upon the quintessential frontier type. Note the lean silhouette, eyes closed by the sun, though sharp as a hawk. He's got the look of both predator and prey." What a line.
Yeah, that's better than the IMDb
I
summary
know,
right
I
there.
know.
I could have just used that. And it would have been
The
fun.
quintessential frontier man.
I would like to be described as a lean silhouette.
Oh, man.
You know?
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, growing up, I never was a big cowboy, like Western guy. But, like, my dad gave a great analogy because I was into, like Lord of the Rings and fantasy stuff. And so, like, England has their hero archetype, their mythical hero archetype is, like, the knight, right?
Yeah.
The holy knight. Scandinavian people have the mighty Viking. And then my dad's like, well, the American mythological hero, mythical legend is the cowboy. Someone who, in a lawless land does the right thing, which is, when I think of that, I just think of, like, Wyatt Earp. I'm like, dude, yeah, the silhouette with the sun, dusty. Like, what a line delivery from Fabian. Like, my gosh.
Also, might I add, Levi said he was a tall drink of water himself.
I did not say that.
Wyatt Earp is a tall drink of water.
No, I was talking about Fabian.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about me saying that about myself.
No, I was saying you thought Fabian, the male actor, was an attractive specimen.
Oh, not as attractive as the other dude, though, Billy. That guy was.
Billy? Oh,
with the glasses.
Yeah. Dude, what? Wyatt
Earp is
hotter than him.
The only thing I said about Fabian was that he was, it's the dude from The Mummy. That's all.
Oh, he did say that.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the whole theater bit.
Yes.
Would anyone like to run through the theater bit?
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a great line.
There's a lot of symbolism because of the...
But let me set the scene for the theater bit. So basically you have Wyatt Earp and his brothers up in box seats in the theater, and you have Fabian and Josephine acting, but you also have the cowboys sitting in like general admission seats, but they're just causing a ruckus pretty much. They're like shooting their guns, they're spitting, they're being loud, obnoxious. Anyway, any fun bits from that?
I really enjoyed when Curly Bill looked at Ringo and goes, "Would you make a deal with the devil?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ringo, without hesitation, no blinking, doesn't even turn to answer him. It just goes, "I already did."
Yeah. Symbolism. I mean, that was a great
something weird
foreshadowing too.
Yeah, something weird's going on with Ringo.
Yeah.
Mysterious villain.
Yeah, he's way scarier than Curly Bill.
I think that's
100%.
I think that's the setup is like you've got Curly Bill as the leader, but then he's the right hand man, but he's like,
because even Curly Bill said later, and we may get to that, but he was like, when this guy takes over, God have mercy.
yeah.
Well, Curly Bill's kind of like that Joker-esque character, the kind of more laughing,
Yeah,
enjoys
that's what I was
the
gonna say.
cruel treatment of people, and Ringo's like the methodical hitman.
Yeah.
Who's technical, smart.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we'll get to that as well about education.
Yeah,
just
they do drop that a lot in this movie as an insult. Yeah, so like I like the bit where the juggler comes out and he's juggling, and they're like, "Yo, I've seen this guy," and one of the cowboys stands up and goes, like, "Catch this" or something. He just shoots the bowling pin. Yeah. So then we have our movie bit, and this is where Kurt Russell sees Josephine again, and there's that whole bit, and so then we exit that. They go. Morgan and Morgan and Wyatt go to the saloon to just hang out and celebrate. Everybody's there. And then this is when we have, in my opinion, the kind of the early standoff. So we have Wyatt at the table, his brother's beside him, Doc sitting down next to him, and we have the actresses come in, the actor come in, Mayor's there, the sheriff's there, and you have the cowboys roll in to see, come see everybody, and you have Curly Bill come stand right in front of him, and Ringo next to him, and Ike next to him, and this is where we get to see like almost these polar opposites, two different forces meeting. You know what I'm saying? You have like Ringo is to Curly Bill what Doc is to Wyatt, and Curly Bill and Wyatt are opposites. You see what I'm saying? Like you have the complete opposites of each other sitting.
You have the mirror.
The mirror image, exactly, of them sitting across from each other. And this is where we get our first little taste of like, ooh, there's some tension here.
Yeah.
These guys don't like each other. And so at first, I think the Cowboys are there to ask Wyatt, like, hey, you still a lawman?
Yeah.
We don't like lawman. And he's like, no, I'm retired. I'm just trying to make some money. So they're like, good. But this is where we have your favorite scene, Jackson. One of your favorite scenes.
I would say this is one of the greatest expressions of filmography and cinema of any movie ever.
It's really good
because you have the lead with one. Curly Bill is telling Wyatt like, "Hey, we don't appreciate lawmen," and you have Ike who is repeating himself, and you see Wyatt tell him basically to shut up, and Billy agree with him because he's wanting to keep his interaction with Wyatt going.
Yeah.
He's trying to press the button to see where he can go. Mm-hmm. Well, then you have Ringo who looks at Doc Holliday and goes, "Is this a Doc Holliday? The famous Doc Holliday?" He doesn't look that scary.
Yeah. And what does Doc say?
he goes, "Oh, this isn't anything. I'm in my prime."
I'm in my prime.
Well, because they had asked Virgil too. They were like, "Well, are you retired?"
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they're trying to test the waters and see how skilled. And this is where you kind of get this sense of like, okay, Doc is this like mythical or like this legend of being like the fastest gun in the area. You know, like he's got the quickest reflexes or whatever. And so I think Ringo's trying to be like, I'm the new kid on the block. Let me see how good he is, right? Basically, I'll let Jackson tell the last half, but Ringo kind of is like, oh, you think you're all that? He pulls out his gun and starts doing gun tricks with, like, you know, flipping it around his hand and doing all this crazy stuff. And then everyone's cheering like, oh, look at him go. And then Jackson, what does Doc do?
He stands up and he takes his cup that he stole, mind you, in the first scene that we're introduced to Doc Holliday, and is spinning a cup on his finger,
kind of mocking him.
and mocking and mirroring what Ringo did, and everyone's kind of laughing and chuckling. And the reason I love this scene so much is there's so much underlying that's being done because Ringo goes out of his way, kind of an insecurity, like almost like I gotta build myself up to the legend. Like he feels like he's in a shadow, so he starts pulls his gun out after
and he points at his head. He points at Doc's head. He's like,
yeah.
Well, because Doc starts with looking at Ringo and going, there's something about him. There's something in his eyes that almost.
He said, "Should I hate him?"
Should I hate him?
His wife.
Yeah, and he goes, he reminds me of me, so I'm gonna hate him.
I'm gonna hate him.
And Ringo smarts off and says some dark and mysterious line
in Latin. He starts talking in Latin.
No. Well, he says something, and then Doc says something in Latin first.
Yeah.
Well, Ringo responds in Latin, and they have a whole conversation
in Latin.
In Latin, while the whole bar is watching them.
Yeah, like, everything's quiet.
This is a completely tense moment. Well, Doc looks at his partner in crime and tells her, well, honey, that's Latin. And he goes, he must be a educated man. So I know for sure I hate him.
I really hate him now.
So Ringo pulls the pistol and then ends up doing... Billy tells him, hey, knock it off. Like, this isn't a good time. Because he's aware that Wyatt probably has a shotgun under the table pointing at him. And
which he does.
He does. So he starts spinning the pistol. Well, Doc Holliday responds with spinning the cup and mirroring and mocking what he's done. Mm-hmm. But if you look at that, it's like Doc Holliday has so much confidence in his ability that he just pulls the cup out and flips it in his face.
Oh.
Yeah. And just made a fool out of Ringo. Like
which is, I think, better than if he just did the same thing with his gun.
Yes.
Because he's like, I can do it with this.
He's like, look, I can make you piss off by just...
Yeah, which is kind of more impressive.
Yeah, Doc's the coolest. But then I also, in my notes, I have, dude, the sheriff, this guy is so down bad for this actress.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when he's like...
yeah.
What is he says something in this scene where he's just like...
She asked him, like, what's the deal with this guy? Before she realizes that it's Wyatt Earp, right? I don't think she knows he's Wyatt Earp at this point. She's like...
She doesn't.
Yeah, he tells her it's Wyatt Earp in that scene.
Mm-hmm. And then, so he breaks it down to her... Because she asked, like, what's his deal? And he can tell that she likes him. And he's like, oh, well, I think he's married.
And then he, like, kind of gives... He's like, haha.
Too bad.
But, yeah. So that's a really well-done scene and probably one of the most notable scenes.
It is.
And so then we cut to this... I don't have a lot of notes on it, but there's also this whole bit where... Oh, Doc is saying, like, Wyatt... You're an oak because you don't fall for her, fall for Josephine.
Yeah.
Well, then the next scene is Wyatt riding his horse out in the land, in the beautiful, beautiful land, which there's a wide shot of them like on a cliff.
Yeah. And
you just can see like these massive mountains in the back, and you're just like, wow, that's really freaking gorgeous.
I have that as my list as a top cinema.
Yeah, it's insanely pretty.
Yeah,
it's real. You can tell it's like a real shot.
I just wrote the fact that like even when Josephine was told that he was married, she didn't even bat an eye. I wrote Josephine could not care less that he's married.
Oh, she's
a homewrecker.
Yeah,
yeah, but she's she's married too.
No, she's just dating. What's his name?
Oh, right, because then they
Fabian.
Yeah, okay.
But she's so forward.
Yeah.
My gosh, she's so forward. She's like, so what do you want out of life? And then he's like, I want some kids. And she's like, that ain't in it for you.
Oh, she said that?
Yeah, she's like, you don't look like that type. And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what do you mean? That's what I want. And she's like, no, I know you. And it's just like, dude, this chick is so down bad for Wyatt.
Yeah, and she said, like, Fabian's good for now.
Yeah,
or whatever,
like,
which is
oh my gosh, yeah.
for the streets, bro. Just for the streets.
But my favorite line is she's like, I got a better idea. And so she starts riding off. And then Wyatt's like, yeah, I'm an oak, all right. He just rides after her.
Well, because when he first saw her, he was like, oh, crap.
Dude,
Well,
he's
he
like,
tried to end the conversation. He's like, well, they're in heat. The best thing to do would be to separate them. And she goes, I have a better idea. I'm going to run it out of him. And he's like, yeah, I'm an oak.
Yeah, right.
So then we cut over to back to the bar at night. And this is where we have our inciting incident. The incident that springs all the events forward in the movie. We have...
I named it my dynamic event. Defining dynamic event.
Yeah, that's another word for inciting incident. Sure. But basically you have the brothers in the bar, the saloon that they now partially own.
Yeah.
And then you have Curly Bill, our main antagonist, who's getting high off opioids, I guess. And he walks out of the tent and he starts just acting a fool in the middle of the town, like shooting his guns off at the ground and like howling at the moon. And the sheriff, who this spineless little freak, walks into the bar and he's just like, there's a guy shooting in the streets. We got to do something about this. And the mayor's like, well, I mean, you're the sheriff.
Yeah.
And he's like, well,
This is more of a town issue.
yeah, Marshall, take care of it. And this poor old man's like, yeah, I ought to take care of it.
Because he's the only one with a pair of nuts on him.
Well, even Wyatt Earp is like, why don't you just let him
Just
shoot it out? Like, there's no need.
Just let him chill out. But of course, Fred, the marshal's like, I gotta take care of this. So,
Yeah, because wouldn't there be, even if you let him shoot it out, there's an off chance he hits a window and kills somebody anyways. So.
yeah. But I also noted there's a cool shot where we're almost in the perspective of the moon as he's howling at the moon, and then it pans down to his face. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You almost feel like he's howling at you, and then it comes down, and we're in the shot. But then you have basically the marshal's like, hey, Curly Bill, I need your guns. What you doing? He's so high, he just like shoots the marshal.
Well, he starts handing them to him, and they're upside down, and then he shoots him upside down gun with his pinky in the chest.
Yeah, so he shoots and kills the sheriff, and Wyatt comes out. I think Wyatt knocks him out, doesn't he? He like,
Comes behind him with a gun, hits him in the back of the head.
hits him in the back of the head, knocks him out, and they're like, crap.
Yeah.
And so all the miners, the people of the town are like, get a rope, we gotta hang him. And Wyatt's like, no, like, he'll seek justice, you know, we'll give him justice. And then this is where we have like a standoff between the Cowboys and Wyatt and his family for the first time. And I love the standoff in this.
Yes.
I love the standoff.
Yeah, the tension.
There's a great line from Wyatt where he puts a gun up to Ike's head because Ike's like, let him go. And he's like, can't do that. Wyatt's like, he says, you take one more step, I'll turn your head into a canoe. He's like got the gun up to his head. And then Billy's about to pull a knife. Or is it Billy, the blue shirt?
I know him as Music Man because that's what
Music Man, or he's like, yeah.
Doc calls him Music Man.
Yeah, tell him the funny lines Doc has in the scene. Doc comes out drunker than a skunk.
Oh, so Doc comes out drunk and he pulls a pistol on Music Man. That's what I know him as. And Music Man pulls a knife and goes, as drunk as you are, I'm sure you're seeing two of me. You ain't gonna hit nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Doc pulls his pistol out, and I actually have it written down. And he goes, I have two guns, one for the both of you.
He
Yeah.
pulls the other one
Great,
out.
yeah.
Great line.
Great line.
Great line there. They get all the Cowboys to disappear, and they take Curly Bill to jail for the night, I believe. Any other notes y'all got on this little bit?
I described the whole scene, and I said this: the defining moment in the movie is when Fred Black is shot by Curly Bill, and Wyatt is forced to become his true nature, whether he wants to be the just lawman that he's always been, or put it behind him and leave, or put his true nature behind for his worldly desires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this is a very which we get a little bit of that later when he gets to talking about with his brothers because they do something. We'll get to there. But yeah, Wyatt's hit with a tough choice of like, I was a sheriff, I gotta do the right thing here.
Well, because even the first one to really like switch over into like we got to do something was Virgil. Because remember they're playing pool, and the Earps are trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
And like he tells him straight up, he tells like Virgil and Morgan, he's like, let's just like stay out of it. And Virgil was like, well, you got us into it, you brought us here, so now we got to be in it.
Yeah, and that's the next morning when that line is hit.
Yeah.
Virgil and the brothers in the pool hall, playing some billiards, and the mayor walks in and says, tries one last time to convince them to, be sheriffs for the town, or be marshals. Is it sheriffs?
Can you have multiple sheriffs?
I think it's marshals because the marshal died.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, he's begging him like, please, we need some more marshals, right? This is getting out of hand. And so Virgil's kind of like Wyatt and Morgan are very unamused. They're like, no, the answer is no. But Virgil decides to take a little break and go outside to clear his head, and that's when he's realizing, like, man, this town is not what we thought it would be and what we wanted it to be. And so he even sees like a little boy almost get trampled by some of the cowboys, and he's just like, I gotta become a sheriff or marshal.
Yeah, he looked at the mom, and she had like a scar on her face.
Yeah.
And I think that was like supposed to be the defining moment.
Yeah, I think he's like, man, I don't want this for my wife.
Yeah.
And my children in the future. So then we cut to the next scene. Virgil is outside of the sheriff's office stamping a notice about you can't have a gun in town, and people are mad. Cut to the bar that they own now, or part-time owners, where a lot of scenes take place. But Doc is playing cards with his girl and against Ike and a couple other cowboys that don't really have names. They lose. Ike loses another hand at the game, and he feels like he's been cheated. And Virgil's in there in the bar, just kind of overlooking, and basically they just kind of get into it, right? They kind of argue a little bit, and Virgil's like, y'all need to go home. He's like, all right, fine, whatever. Are there any notes?
Yeah, he was talking crap to Ike, and then Ike got pissed off, and then do you remember when Doc Holliday said, all right, let's have a spelling contest, just like
he's
insult his intelligence.
Ike's dumb.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
and he's drunk too. He said that while drunk. So
yeah, Doc doesn't hold any punches, man. He is witty as crap in this movie. Yeah, so this is kind of like, Virgil. I think Virgil leaves the bar for a second, and Ike starts talking crap about him.
Yeah, to the bartender.
He even slaps the bartender, right?
Yeah, because he said, I'm not going to take any crap from no bartender.
No bartender. Yeah. I ain't taking no crap from no bartender. Virgil, like, he makes a threat to Virgil. He's like, next time I see them.
Next time I see Holiday and that Earp in the streets, I'm going to gun them down.
Yeah, and so then
this guy
Virgil hears it and whacks him upside the head, takes him to jail. So then we cut to the next morning.
Yes.
They come and get Ike out of jail, and Ike threatens again to, like, we'll be back. I'll see you around. And then
Wyatt bumps into that guy, and he's like, oh, easy, kid.
Yeah, but this leads to, there was an awesome bit in the bar scene. We're going back to the bar scene before Ike gets blunt.
Yeah.
I think when Ike throws a tantrum, the bottle rolls off the table, and the actor that plays one of the other cowboys, no looks, catches it. Did any of y'all see that?
No.
Oh, no. It was kind of sick. It was, the bottle was rolling, and he no looked while looking at Ike, was just like, and caught it midair. And I'm like, dude, is this guy Spider-Man?
That's why you sent me that meme today of Spider-Man when you catch something falling off the table.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this guy's legit. Who is this guy? Yeah, and I forgot to say, Doc faints. Then Ike mouths off and gets hit with his own gun, and then Virgil smacks him with his own gun. And then we get to, the morning. They come and get Ike out of jail.
Wyatt ends up walking out of the marshal's station and bumps into one of the younger cowboys and goes, hey, easy, kid. It was on accident. And the cowboy ends up looking at him and being like, I ain't easy and I ain't a kid. And flashes his Colt on his hip. Well, Wyatt ends up just grabbing it and smacking him over the top of the head with his own guns.
Like a kid.
Literally like a kid.
Oh, and it's just so the amount of times Wyatt just like grab somebody's gun and like smack him with it. I'm like, how do you let somebody do that? Like, what? He must be that. I mean, I don't know. He must be that fast. But yeah, so this leads to we kind of fast forward a little bit, like just they're still on the porch, but this leads to them. They threaten to say like, meet us at the OK Corral. Or behind the OK Corral.
Yeah.
No, we'll see you there. It's on site. And
it's on site. Yeah, they definitely said that.
Literally said that. And so this leads to the mayor coming up and being like, Or was it the sheriff?
No.
The coward of a sheriff.
Well, this is when Virgil looks at him and goes, "Well, I'm gonna go over there and take their guns from them." And
They're doing
Wyatt goes, "Are you really gonna do this over a misdemeanor?"
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Yes, because
It's the law.
it's the law."
It's the law here in Tombstone.
And so that's when Wyatt goes, "Well, you might as well give me a badge."
You might as well swear me in, as he says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a cold line.
At this time, sick Doc Holliday, aura as ever, walks up in his a trench coat with not even his arms through it.
Yeah.
And he's got a cane, and he goes, "Well, hand me a gun. I'm coming with you." And Wyatt looks at him and goes, "This is our business. Like, it's not your part." Mm-hmm. Doc Holliday looks very upset and offended.
He was offended. Yeah.
He goes, "There's no way you just said that to me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you remember the quote that he said about when handing him the double barrel?
This is such a good line. He goes, "All right, well, Virgil, go ahead and give Doc the street howitzer. They're more prone to not shoot with him on that." I'm just like, that's so funny to me. The street howitzer. But I have notes as they walk to the OK Corral. The shot of them probably might be my favorite shot of the movie. But like them walking in a line with the fire behind them, and they're just like walking down the main strip of the street. I'm like, these guys are sick, dude. These guys are so cool. This just builds tension perfect because the music's kind of like building up, you know. We're like, what's gonna happen?
Sheriff. This is where the sheriff comes up.
Oh yeah, they get to right before they get around the corner to the OK Corral. The sheriff's like, "It's okay, I've disarmed them." And I'm like,
yeah,
he didn't take a single gun from them.
He's such a wuss.
It's a blatant lie.
He walks up, he's like, "It's okay, guys. I disarmed them. I swear." And you turn the corner, and they immediately put their hands on their guns. Like, yeah, the tension of the shot of them, you know, like seeing each other, and they all the cowboys immediately go for their guns, and they're like, wait, we don't want any bloodshed.
Yeah.
We don't want any bloodshed. And it's just like a standoff at this point. And then Doc has that sick scene where he shoulder throws his jacket off.
Yeah.
And then he's just got a double barrel in one hand. I'm just like, this guy the aura is crazy with Doc Holliday.
He also started the whole gunfight too.
I have that written down. Doc is a menace.
No, aura. 2 auras is our cap. No more auras.
It's just Wyatt and Doc. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. No more. 2 per movie.
Yeah.
That's all that's allowed. But yeah, Doc starts the fight. Jackson, would you like to tell them how he starts the fight?
Like I said, I only know this guy by Music Man, but Doc proceeds to look at him and wink.
He looks him square in the eyes and winks, and then it cuts to Music Man, and he gets really angry, and that's what I think he draws first.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to draw, and
half of them get gunned down immediately.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so I actually have one of my like extra bits and like things that I just kind of wrote down for later is the gunplay in this scene is just atrocious. It is, if you really start to nitpick what happens, Doc within the first 10 seconds of this gunfight shoots 3 rounds out of a shotgun.
yeah, that's not
out of a double barrel.
Yeah.
One he shoots in the air to scare the horse. He shoots the guy behind the horse, and then he instantly transitions to the second guy and shoots him too. So there's 3.
Yeah, so you're right about that. Like, the ammunition count is not John Wick style.
Yeah.
It's infinite barrel ammunition in every weapon. But I would say that the gunfight, I feel like is more in line to what would have actually happened. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and I'll get to that in a minute. But like, what I'm saying is like
how they acted.
Yeah, yes, he shot 3 shotgun shells out of a double barrel. But I liked the idea that he used the shotgun to scare the horse, then blow the guy in half. And then I also like when Doc whips out both of his Colts. Basically, whenever we cut to like any of the cowboys who are like shooting, they're just not looking. They're like kind of like covering their face, like shooting in the general direction of.
But still, people on both sides got hit.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's how they would have.
Yeah,
they're probably terrified. They're just like, I'm blind firing and just shooting. But Doc is the only one that's like, I actually had a note about this. If you watch him, Doc and Wyatt are the only 2 that are like facing the fight and still like trying somewhat to aim and being like, oh, I'm going to be pinpoint accurate and stuff. But yeah, Doc fans his hammer of his one pistol and then proceeds to unload like 6 more into the window.
Yeah, see, so you said those were the only two that were aiming, but the other two were the ones that got hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just
Kind of
like
unfortunate.
Well, just like even the last guy who was hurt, like the last cowboy who's like bleeding and he's like kind of, looking around. He's just kind of like shooting some in the dirt and then shooting in that general direction. Like, they're not really aiming, but they're still trying to fight. And it's like, I feel like that would be somewhat accurate to those who were all talk and no game, Like,
I really like the line right after the gunfight because the sheriff is still there because he was there right when they got there. When he comes up to the Earps and Doc and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna have to arrest you fellas," and Wyatt goes, "I don't think I'll let you arrest us today, Behan." And he just never even tried to do anything else.
He has no power. Yeah. That's the thing. He is so cowardice, and
as soon as the shooting happened, he ran. He hid with the women.
He hid in the Josephine's little hut.
Yeah.
And was like, "Stay down." But back to the point of where Doc winks. I love the line Wyatt says too. As he winks, Wyatt goes, "Oh my God." And then all the shooting starts to happen. But yeah, I love the part when Doc fanned the hammer of his gun, just unloaded the rounds and everybody when he shoots through the window. And then I also like the bit where the sheriff looks at Josephine and she's just so turned off by him. She's just like, and she like walks away from him. She's like, rolls her eyes.
And mind you, in all of this chaos, somehow the guy that solely started this entire conflict makes away with his life.
Ike, somehow gets away.
Just somehow.
I forget. Did they let him?
He dove through the window. And
I remember somebody going through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he just runs away. You're right. He just gets away scot-free. So then we cut to, they're in the street, and Ringo's a little drunk, and you kind of have a standoff with, you have the famous line of, "I'll be a huckleberry." With Doc kind of
and
being like, "You just say when," Yeah.
So I actually caught something about this scene that I've never caught before watching Tombstone.
Ooh, okay.
So when he first approaches the Earps, in the background of the scene, you can see Doc is already sitting in the barber chair. He reaches for both of his pistol grips while Ringo's talking on the street. So like before he's even initiated and is out of the chair, he has his hands on pistol grip, ready to shoot Ringo.
I did notice him reaching that scene, but I didn't mark anything down, so I'm glad you brought that up.
The joy of rewatching movies.
I know. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It is
like the 72nd time I've seen this movie.
72th.
Edit that out, please.
So then we cut to like a really kind of spooky moment where it's nighttime, it's raining, and there's lightning. And this is where we start to see like the Cowboys have a plan to get back at the Earps. And you kind of see stuff kind of happening, and Josephine's warned, and then the sheriff tells Josephine the plan because he's in on it.
Right.
He's in cahoots with the Cowboys.
Yeah, loser.
And then
Simp.
What?
Simp.
Yeah.
Literally. Then...
Oh, can I bring up one point we forgot about the OK Corral shoot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Josephine walks out, makes eye contact, and smiles with Earp, and his wife walks up on it in the middle of it and notices it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a huge turning point because it's kind of like that public acknowledgement of a little fling happening there.
Yeah, it is bad. It's
because that plays into this part and how the wife reacts when she shows up.
Yeah. So the sheriff tells Josephine about the plan. Josephine then goes and tells the wives. She feels like she has to tell them, and that's when they see a shadow approach the door. And is it Wyatt's wife opens the door?
I think it's Virgil or
somebody.
Because they said, it's just Is it Morgan?
It's just Morgan. It's just Virgil. It's Virgil's wife.
So it's Virgil's wife.
So they open the door, and then
she screams no.
The guy shoots 2 shotgun rounds and then runs away. Misses both.
Totally forgot about that.
Sucks.
Scene. Yeah.
Hits the wall.
Like there's 6 people in that room, and he missed with a
what's
shotgun.
going on? Terrible assassin. Terrible. This is where we see Michael Rooker's character. I forget his name.
Yeah.
He's part of the Cowboys. He walks up to Wyatt and goes, "I hear what happened. What they did to
your women.
Your women." And he was like, "If you need me, I'm on your side now." respect.
Mind you, bring it back to the very first scene. He shows visible discomfort when the bride is taken, and heinous things are done.
Heinous things are done. Yep. Then we have. Is this Virgil gets his arm shot too? At this bit.
Yeah.
Virgil gets his arm shot first. Yes.
Yeah.
So Morgan and Wyatt are playing
pool,
or they're eating Chinese food. You know that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They are eating Chinese. Yep.
They're eating with chopsticks in
a bar.
In a bar,
but not their bar.
I thought it was
It's
their
their
bar.
bar.
They're eating at the poker table.
They're eating the poker table. It is their bar.
I think it was.
So Virgil leaves, then he comes back, and Wyatt's like, "What'd you forget?" And Virgil's arm is busted. I mean, it's bloody. It's bad.
Yeah.
So they rush him to the doctor.
Well, they rushed the doctor to him, I think.
Yeah, they rush the doctor to him, and Virgil's like, "I don't want to talk to you, Wyatt." So Wyatt's like, "God."
Well, Morgan storms out first.
Yeah, Morgan storms out to go play billiards at the pool hall.
And the doctor tells Virgil or his wife, that he'll probably never get the use of that arm again.
Yeah, sad moment. So then Wyatt leaves and goes outside where he hears a shot, and this is where Morgan gets shot in the pool hall in the back.
Yeah.
And so then Wyatt rushes to him, and then we cut to Morgan on the pool table, and they're trying to get the bullet out, man. And it's the tension on the scene is great. You have the dog barking, you have people crying, you have blood everywhere, you have Morgan screaming, the doctor's screaming, and they're trying to get this bullet out. And I'm just like, dude, God, Wyatt's going through the ringer right now. I mean,
because he was going back and forth.
He's going back and forth trying to comfort the wife, but also trying to help his brother. And then he's like, somebody shut that dog up. Shut that dog up. And then, like, it's just sad. There's thunder, there's lightning. It's a lot going on. Overstimulated, as I would say.
Yeah.
And so the doctor gives up. He's like, I can't get the bullet out. I can't get the bullet out. So Morgan and Wyatt get a little time alone. And
that I wrote the line down because earlier in the movie, Wyatt had asked, like Virgil specifically, like, what do you believe in God or something like? No, Virgil asked Wyatt that, and he said
Morgan.
It was Morgan. Morgan's the religious one.
Oh, okay.
Morgan's the one that's
And
like,
so
I've been reading a book on.
Wyatt was like, maybe, or yeah, maybe, I don't know. And then they talked about seeing a light when you die. So then after Morgan gets shot in the back, they do a callback to the line earlier where they were talking about seeing a light right before you die. And he tells Wyatt, that whole seeing a light thing, it's a lie. I can't see a damn thing. So kind of hit hard.
Yeah, it kind of pulls at your heartstrings. You're like,
a lot. And then he breathes his last breath.
Yikes. This is where I think we get some phenomenal acting by Kurt Russell, where he kind of like looks at his hands with his brother's blood on it. And he kind of walks outside, and it's just like, I noted, or what I took it as is like, he's got his family's blood on his hands, and he's done this to them. He brought them to Tombstone. He's kind of caused this.
That's cool.
And so that's why he's like, stay away from me. Stay away from me.
He said that?
Yeah, he tells Josephine that. That's
yeah.
So we get a little like just sad. It's so sad. But
in the rain too.
Yeah.
Very cinematic.
Also, she's really bold for not being that man's wife and going to comfort him in the public street.
She's bold this whole movie. She does not care about his wife. That's
I don't think he does either.
So it cuts to the next morning. The Earps are leaving. They've packed their things. They're leaving. Tombstone's done too much damage to them. They've lost their little brother. They're done with it. Mm-hmm. So as they're leaving, they run into the Cowboys. And are there any lines from the Cowboys that y'all like, or anything
I don't remember
impeccable about the scene?
I just remember Ringo goes, smell that, and kind of takes a deep breath and goes, smells like somebody died.
Oh,
and
yeah,
his coffin for Morgan is in the back of the wagon that Wyatt's driving.
Disrespect.
Yeah,
Disrespect.
I'd have shot him right there.
Yeah, I would. I would have too. But then they leave town, and then Ike is told to finish it. Mm-hmm. Curly Bill says, take some guys, y'all go finish it. So then we cut to the train station where the Earps are on the train, and they're about to leave town. And this is probably what noise just left my body there. This is probably my second favorite scene in the movie, or one of the best monologues, at least, for me. Stillwell says hey to Virgil's wife through the window, and he asks where Wyatt is.
Yeah.
And Wyatt immediately replies with, right behind you, Stillwell. And as soon as he turns around, bam! shotgun to the face.
Yeah.
Dead instantly.
Yeah, it was sick.
Ike drops to his knees like, Wyatt, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Wyatt. Please don't kill me. Y'all want to talk about anything important in this scene?
Wyatt drags his spur across his face and
yeah,
just slices his cheek wide open.
In a cool way, too. Just ching.
It's kind of slow at the beginning and then
Yep.
fast across his face.
Yep. I said, what a Chad when he did that, too. 'Cause, my gosh, it's so cool. Just, like, puts his spur up against his, like, mouth and just...
I think you're the only person I know that thinks Chads are cool.
Okay. I'll have to explain this off camera. But...
I think you used Chad right.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? It's like Giga Chad. You're like,
yeah.
oh. So then we get a wide shot of the new squad. We get like Michael Rooker's character, Texas Pete, and
sick.
the other his buddy Texas Pete's
Cactus
buddy.
Jack.
Cactus Jack. What? Come on, those names are so
Yeah,
cool.
Texas.
Texas Pete and Cactus Jack. That's dope.
That's not their names. Wait, is that
That's
what
what their name? Yeah.
Texas Pete and Cactus Jack?
Yeah, I'm like 100%.
There's no way Travis Scott stole something from Tombstone.
Yeah. He did.
The hot sauce and Travis Scott's brand were the name of the Cowboys.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Get it right. And then it shows a shot of them riding with the sun in the background. Such an epic scene. Such an epic scene.
Oh, yeah. Anything with the horizon in the background was fire.
Oh, and this is where Wyatt Jackson, where he says this line. You know the line better than I do.
yeah.
Go ahead and tell him.
He goes, tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me.
Yeah. That's a callback, too.
Which, yeah, I was going to make this point. So it's a callback to the beginning of the movie when the Ringo describes Revelations and says, "And behold, a pale horse, and on it the rider named Death, and with him hell follows."
Yep.
And at first I thought, at the beginning of the movie when I first watched this for the first time in a while, I thought they were talking about Curly Bill or Ringo. But I'm almost positive, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost positive Wyatt is on a white horse at the end of the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't remember.
I can't remember. Also, little correction of myself. It's Turkey Creek Jack and Texas Jack.
I was about to say,
They're
there's
both-
no way it's Texas Pete and Cactus Jack.
They're both named Jack?
Pairs of Jacks, yep.
Pairs of Jacks.
That's cooler.
No, it's a dark horse. So take it back.
Like, I didn't remember.
Well, anyway, regardless.
They should have put him on a pale horse.
I know. They should have put him on a
They should
pale
have got
horse.
Gandalf's horse from Return of the King.
Yeah, that beautiful stallion. But yeah, anyway.
He didn't know.
This is now symbolized. Oh, I forgot. You haven't seen those. But yeah, I love this callback to him being described as Death, and he's coming for the Cowboys, man. He's coming. It's awesome. All right, nothing to say there. I feel like I've been talking this whole episode.
You're good at it.
Then we cut to just kind of a montage of Wyatt and the gang killing the Cowboys in a bunch of different ways. But then we get a cool ambush scene where there's a river separating the Cowboys and Wyatt's gang, or Wyatt's group of... Oh, I forgot to mention this. Wyatt's now a U.S. Marshal, so he's backed by...
All of them are, right?
the country. The federal judicial system is like, yo, go get these guys. Basically, right?
I don't know how...
That's what a U.S. Marshal is. It works for the judges.
Yeah, but I don't know how official this blood hunt was.
Okay, I see what you're saying. He became a U.S. Marshal.
Got badges on, though.
Except Doc Holliday. If you notice, he doesn't
Right.
ever wear a badge.
Yeah, so Doc's committing murder.
War crimes out there.
But yeah, so water is separating. We have an ambush scene where there's water separating the Cowboys and Wyatt's gang of U.S. Marshals. And you have a kind of a shootout, and they're pinned down. And does anybody want to describe this scene for the viewers?
So, Curly Bill calls out after his side of the river begins shooting at Wyatt Earp. And the Immortals is what they actually end up calling his posse through the movie. And he calls out and says, well, if you don't hear that, there's guys on the other side. So you're pinched in. And
The Immortals.
Wyatt Earp ends up, you kind of hear this, like, you kind of see this thought brewing in his mind, and he stands up, and Doc Holliday instantly sees it and is like, Wyatt! He walks out there screaming no and wades into the water, and Curly Bill tells everybody to stop shooting. He's like, he's mine. Well, he goes out there and misses all 6 shots with his pistol, and
I forgot
Wyatt
they
just
shot
shoots
all
him in the
6.
chest with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And that kind of sends that kind of changes, shifts the momentum between from the Cowboys to the Immortals.
Yeah, they win the gunfight.
They do.
They everyone else scurries away. It's a great shot. Well, from here we cut to Doc getting real sick at this point, and they stop at a ranch to let him be. Kind of
A ranch run by Charlton Heston, by the way.
Yeah, they do. It is run by him, and they leave him to just rest. And this is where Wyatt is faced with an ultimatum of them. They kill Michael Rooker's character off screen, and they drag his body to the ranch, and they leave him there out in the field.
I didn't remember that.
They tell Wyatt, they say, "You got to face Ringo in like a day, tomorrow. Show up there at 5 or whatever." And so Wyatt's faced with this idea of, I've got to face the guy that rivals Doc, like fastest hand in the West kind of deal, right? Like I might not be able to do it.
Well, he talks to Doc saying, when I stepped out to Curly Bill, there wasn't any thinking. And he goes, now I've had plenty of time to think about this, and I realize I can't beat him.
Yeah.
He asked Doc, can I beat him? And Doc just looks at him and goes, no.
Yeah, Doc tells him he can't. And so before he goes, he gives Doc his badge, because Doc's like, I've never had a badge. And he tells him, I'm sorry that I can't help you. And it's just a beautiful moment. Like, honestly, I think Wyatt and Doc's relationships throughout this whole movie is just like, it's what you want out of a friend. Like, they're just there for each other. Mm-hmm. And so he leaves and he goes, and we cut to like Wyatt about to go confront him.
You skipped Fabian dying.
Oh yeah.
Or them showing he didn't show him die, but
so
him dead.
Yeah.
Cut to the caravan leaving, and what I mean by caravan is the actor caravan is leaving town, and we learned that the famous actor guy Fabian has been shot and killed, and Josephine's sad about it, and this is where Billy gets sad about it and realizes, man, these cowboys suck. They're just awful people.
Yeah.
They're just awful people. So he's done. He gives up. He leaves. Then we cut to after the shootout happens, the river shootout happens. We have the Immortals sitting on the, close enough to the river. Wyatt's down by the river, and go ahead, Jackson, give it away.
Doc's laying up against a saddle that's leaning against a tree, and Texas Jack walks up. He goes, Doc, what are you doing out here? Like, you should be in bed. And Doc looks up at him and goes, well, Wyatt's my friend. Texas Jack looks at him and goes, well, hell, I got plenty of friends. And Doc goes, well, I don't.
Yeah. Cold line.
Sweet line. Again, the friendship's beautiful, and it's like, you can really tell that there's a long history between these two that we don't get to see on screen. We get to see a little bit of it, but you can tell that they really care about each other, which is awesome. So then cut to Wyatt pulling up to the scene with both pair Jacks, and he tells the Jacks, like, yeah, y'all are free to go. Like, this is, whatever happens here.
As soon as the shooting starts, go ahead and cut east.
Yeah, just leave. And so Wyatt starts walking. Then we cut over to Ringo, and Ringo's pacing in the woods, waiting for Wyatt to pull up. And then we see a figure walking towards Ringo. We don't see who it is just yet. And this is what makes this.
You can see the badge. You can see the marshal badge.
You can see the badge. Yes, you're right. But all we know is a silhouette with a badge. So we're like, okay, there's Wyatt. Here we go. Here's the big finale. And the way this is shot, and the cinematography and the way it leads into it is so good, because you walk up and then, I can't remember the lines, but I think...
Well, you did show.
Yeah, well, you did show, and then what is...
Doc ends up saying, well, I'm your Huckleberry.
He says it again. Yeah, that's right. He says,
I have one written down. I'm trying to remember where it's from. It might not be from this part, but it's the last quote I wrote down. It said, it's not revenge she's after, it's a reckoning. Was that at the train scene, or was that now? Were they talking about...
I have that written down too.
Was that... were they talking about Ringo after a reckoning?
That's when he's in bed. Doc's in bed sick. Remember? Because he's like...
And he's talking about Ringo.
Yeah, but he's saying, I'm mad he was mad he's born. There's a whole...
Oh, yeah.
He's mad he's born, and he wants revenge. Revenge for being born.
I just had it written down, but I didn't write who said it, so it's confusing me.
Or he wants revenge for being born, yeah.
I do remember that part.
When Doc says this, Ringo gets real scared. You can see in his face. And one of the quotes he says is, "Son, we started a game we didn't get to finish." And then Ringo says, "I was fooling." And Doc says, "I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
And this time it's legal." He points to the badge. And then we have them kind of circling each other, like looking at each other, hands on the hilt of their guns. Close-up shots of just the eyes, just twitching here and there. It's great. And then I think Doc says, like, "Say when."
Well, this entire time, Doc is smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Like, casually just
Yeah.
circling him, smoking a cigarette.
See, this is why I said cut the vaping out of films. Give me cigarettes. Because look how cool people look.
Well, that's because they didn't have vapes in 1890, whatever.
I know, but
I agree, but
keep cigarettes in movies.
They're cooler. You might as
They're
well
cool.
die from something that's
They're
cool.
cool. They're cool. But I love, dude, Ringo pulls the gun, Doc shoots him, and then holsters before Ringo can hit the ground. Like, I mean, he doesn't, like,
fire.
half a second. Bam! Holster. And he just sits there and waits. And
Well, he keeps saying, "Come here, Ringo. Come on." Like he's
Ringo's
stumbling to his death.
dying. Yeah, he's got a hole in his head. And yeah, he falls over dead. And that's the end of Ringo. Wyatt says, "Doc, what are you doing out of bed?" And Doc says, like, "I was not as sick as I made it out to be."
Right.
From there, where do we go from here?
So there's Doc in the bed, sick, like on his deathbed, sick, and Wyatt comes to talk to him and puts a book on him. And when he walks away,
They're playing cards first.
they're playing cards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Wyatt decides to play some blackjack, I'm assuming, or poker or something with him. It's poker. It's poker. He's playing poker with him in the bed, and Doc is at this point not having it because I assumed, from what I gathered and heard, it's because he doesn't want Wyatt to see him like this at this point because he's pretty sick, and he's just like, "You're the most stubborn man I've ever met. You're no good snake." Da, 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 da. Just being like, "Get out of my sight. I don't want you to see me like this." Or Wyatt's like, "Yeah, we play every week. Yada yada yada."
Is that when he put the book on
He
his
convinces him to leave. And Wyatt puts the book in his hands, says goodbye to his friend, and leaves.
Cover
And
down. Puts the book down.
Cover down. And then, Levi, what does the book say?
Doc picks it up and it says, does it say The Life of Doc Holliday? Oh no, A Good Friend, Doc Holliday.
It's something like that, along those lines.
By
Like,
Wyatt Earp. So it's basically a book that
A
Wyatt
Tale of My
wrote.
Good Friend, Doc Holliday by Wyatt Earp.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Talk about
my
heartstrings.
notes are just, their friendship is beautiful, and you can see. And as soon as Wyatt leaves, Doc passes away.
And then it cuts to the scene.
Well, he tells him, hold on, sorry, I forgot this part. He tells Wyatt, he says, "You go grab that girl,
Oh yeah.
and you scoop her up in your arms, and you don't look back. You keep going and live your life."
Which leads into the next scene.
Sure enough, Wyatt goes and does that. Which, go ahead.
Did they say or anything like where it is? Because it's snowing wherever there is.
It's probably like
Because
Colorado
Tombstone's
or
in Arizona.
Well,
so.
no, it is the same shot because they walk out of the same theater that when Morgan asks, "Do you believe in God?"
Okay, so it's just winter at this point. It's snowing, and he asks Josephine to dance, and so they're dancing in the snow as it rolls to credits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That is the movie. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and do the outro here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll get right into it here. What would you guys change about this movie?
Well, like y'all said earlier, with I wish they counted ammo a little bit more, especially in the
It's a
OK Corral
nitpick.
shootout.
Yeah, it's a nitpick.
But that's not the one thing I wrote down, which is kind of a joke, but also like at the beginning and the end, there's a narrator. You have Sam Elliott in your movie, and he's not narrating.
That's true. That's fair. He's
That's a great point.
beautiful voice there.
The greatest voice.
Yeah. Jackson, what about you? What would you change? If anything.
They said that this movie was supposed to be 3 hours long, and I think they robbed us of 40 minutes.
I'll agree.
I think we
Great
got
show.
to see if there's a director's cut at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it should have been a standard.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I would change. It's a really good movie on its own. I would like to see a little bit more kind of build up to Tombstone, like what.
Oh, instead of them just going straight there.
Yeah, give me.
Yeah,
I think the narrator at the beginning talked about a little bit about Wyatt Earp's in Dodge City, but maybe like give me a little bit of like maybe like a quick montage of him doing things,
Yeah.
or maybe like give us just a little background, because we just kind of, I mean, we go from the Cowboys to them pulling up in the train, which I guess works for a first time watch, but rewatching you're kind of like, I wish I got a little bit more. Like you said, I bet you some of that 40 minutes is dedicated to Dodge City stuff.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I also wish we got a little bit more turmoil within Wyatt after Virgil gets his arm shot and then Morgan dies. I wish we got a little moment to see him like grieve and like really go through the ringer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like really feel the weight of like his actions. Like, man, I brought my brothers here and now they're like, one is dead and one is maimed. Like, he cannot use his arm. Like, kind of let us sit with like, oh, this is why he wants revenge. Like, like his brother's blood is on his hands. Like this is the motivation to drive him to do what he did in the end. I wish we could have gotten something a little bit more like that. Levi, what was your favorite scene from this movie?
My favorite scene was I'm trying to remember it was in the middle of the movie, but I don't remember what had just happened, when the Earp brothers and Doc are walking down the road with it's just like their silhouettes basically, with the burning church in the background.
That's on their way to the OK Corral.
Okay.
They're making their way over there to start the fight.
There. Yeah, I thought that shot was sick.
It was a really good shot. Great cinematography. Jackson?
I think my favorite scene has to be the tin cup. I think him spinning it and just embarrassing Ringo in front of everyone, and all the subtle, like, you could really see the what's actually happening between the two, while everyone else thinks it's just kind of this like this little game,
But they're like, he's like, I'm in his head. My favorite scene's probably they're at the train and Wyatt's like, right behind you, and he goes on his tangent and he's like, tell him I'm coming and I'm bringing the hell with me. I just love that scene because it's just like, here we go. Wyatt's on his revenge tour. Here we go. He's going crazy. What was the best performance?
I already had my best performance, but I'm reading like the third most liked LetterBoxd review, and if this doesn't sum it up. It said, imagine if Jack Sparrow was in a Western. That's Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday in Tombstone. It's even more awesome than how it sounds.
That's a pretty accurate description, I would say.
Yeah.
Because he's got the witty charm, but also the one-liners that Jack has. And it's just, God, this movie's so quotable. It's insane.
Yeah. Especially him especially. He had like 85% of the quotable lines in this movie.
It's true.
Jackson?
Can I mention my overall and then my honorary mention for this movie?
Yeah, of course.
Val Kilmer's like acting for being sick, and the way he holds in a cough, and you can see his eyes water, and while he's trying to hold it in, his chest fills. Like he had to study how to kind of play the sick part. Like, he really sold him being sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally.
That's a good point.
My honorary mention for this is Wyatt Earp's wife and her playing how she's addicted and how she responded to him confronting her outside the theater. Yeah. Like, she genuinely gives off the impression like she's addicted. Like, the way she got super defensive when he was like, "Hey, is this the bottle that Lou gave you?" And she's like, "No. Why would you? I just take it for headaches." Like, just her immediate reaction to be defensive. Like, she played it really well. I think she's kind of overshadowed, but she did a really good job in that part.
Totally. Yeah. No. I'm glad that you included somebody who's not like just Val Kilmer. I loved Val Kilmer in this. I think overall he's really killing it. But if I had to pick somebody else in terms of a different character just to be different, I would have to either say Kurt Russell or the guy who plays Ringo. I really like the mysterious villain type that the guy who plays Ringo brings to that character, of just this like, oh, I can compete with you, Doc. I know you're, the best around, but I'm better. Kind of brings this like scary villain, mysterious stranger kind of vibe to the role. I thought he did good overall. He doesn't have a lot, and that's okay. I think he had exactly what he needed. But Levi, you got any recs for us? Similar genre recs?
Yeah. Western overall, my favorite one, even though, I mean, it is a Western technically. The Revenant is really nothing like Tombstone, but that's my favorite Western.
Jackson, what would be your rec to the audience?
Literally any John Wayne movie. If you want this kind of action suspense, just go and watch literally pick and choose. You can't go wrong.
Perfect. My rec would probably be True Grit with Jeff Bridges. It's a great movie. I loved it.
I thought it was like too funny. I thought it needed to be a little more serious.
Shut up. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We've had a blast with our first guest. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Jackson, thank you so much for coming on and picking the movie.
Anytime.
It was such a good movie. Such a blast. It's always a treat having a good old-fashioned Western or just a classic to watch. Oh, also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Or else, hell's coming with me, you hear? Alright, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, that was funny.